I wonder if I should just do all of these. I feel like I've done that before.
You're a big old baby.
Why not?
Yeah, sweetie pie.
Right?
Yeah, sweetie pie.
The only problem is then people can't consolidate in one chat, but they don't anyways, so I'll just do it growing pains.
Well, you know, ideally we should all be able to see the chats so we can respond to
Well,
them.
you have Discord on your phone, so you could. We should get you set up on Discord. I don't know if that's a good show, but.
Do you want to what?
Let me see your phone, Dad.
You had very, very detailed directions of how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just have to wait till that ad plays again.
I never know how your phone works. Hey, it's right here on your homepage.
Did you get your buddy hooked up on it? Bradley Cooper, what was his name?
I updated the link.
Oh,
All right, there's your chat. All right, let's download the Discord app for you there, Kyle.
I know. What am
no,
I?
let me cut it on so you can...
Is that going to come on?
Oh, wait. Did you click on the picture?
Yep.
So it'll just be, it'll automatically scroll up with any new chats. All right. Oh, this is an iPhone? Sweet. Makes it even easier. Do you know your email address?
Oh, yeah. You need it?
Well, I'll let you do all that.
Actually, my email hasn't been working for a while, but we'll get that fixed soon. Is this live on the air?
Yeah, well, our
Are
voices.
we on yet?
Our voices are live on the air.
My email
We're
address
downloading.
is-
Everybody that hears us right now, get on the download a Discord app. We're getting Kyle hooked
That's
up
right.
here.
If I'm on it, that means one of the last people on the earth has gotten on it.
It's downloading. It's a little slow. We'll see how that goes. All right, I'll go to the intro now. Bam. Look at that. Catherine's in the headphones producing. You hear that, right?
I'm not getting anything.
Oh, yeah, you won't. Oh. You won't see the show. You could, but you won't.
Well, what am I going to say?
Just people's chat.
That's going to show up, but not anything else.
I mean, you could see the stream in there, but you don't want to worry about that.
Well, it's no big deal. I don't really need to see us again.
All right.
Now, is YouTube the only place you can rewatch it? Or can you rewatch it on Discord? Or that's
On
just live?
Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Facebook.
Discord's just live.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to the show. Nathan Moore here. This is Steve Moore. This is Kyle Hogg. We're trying a little bit new, a different setup this time. We have a mystery producer back there behind the camera. If you guys need anything on the production front, if you call the hotline or something, she'll answer. And yeah, we don't really know what we're doing or how this is going to work, but we're trying new things just to stay young at heart and explore all the possibilities. So welcome to the show, and that's all I got for an intro.
Hey, everybody.
Did you get your Discord downloaded yet? We're trying to get Kyle on Discord here. Dad's got his open. We can see the chats. We should be able to see the chats from wherever you're watching. Twitch,
No, it's still
Facebook, YouTube. There's Ben. Hey, Ben.
Ben.
Good to see. So did you see that pop up? Oh, he's going to have to switch his glasses.
No.
Oh, really?
This shows to be mostly us just looking at our phones, seeing if we can figure out how they work. I've got a text. Well,
It's a miracle. I tell you what, I do not understand how they do
my
it.
mom wants to know what I'm doing tomorrow. Hold on.
Are both your parents still alive?
Oh, my dad just passed away in August. But
Oh, wow.
they're-
And they live in Stanton?
So it's so fresh. It's like he's sort of still here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they live they live on Skymont. I'm sure you know where that
Uh-huh.
is. Heading out of town. Yeah.
They grew up here?
Yep. My mom did. My dad was from Waynesboro.
Close enough.
Yeah. They met at Wright's Dairy, right?
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I worked at Wright's Dairy right in high school.
Gosh, why am I the only person they didn't hire?
Right. I got fired. I got fired, though.
I'm not saying that you're a bad worker, but I have friends that are just like, I wouldn't think they would hire them to dig a ditch. And they're like, I worked at Wright's Dairy, right? Like, what?
So you went in and applied, and they didn't hire you?
I think
they
I'm the
they
only
rejected
person,
you?
The only person
Reject.
Oh my God, I must have been the worst teenager of all time.
How did they? Maybe they just didn't need anybody. They were overstaffed.
I saw you working in there.
I got fired from there. I got fired from most of my high school jobs.
Were you a cook or you were taking the food out?
Like serving, taking orders, serving. But I think the straw that broke the camel's back was I was dancing. Something came on the radio and I started dancing, and they were like, "All right, you're out of here." Before that, I got scolded for drawing pictures on the bags. I would doodle on the bags and serve the people their food.
That's nice.
I thought it was nice. I was trying to kick things up a notch, but
I'm still surprised how busy it is. I mean, I'm happy. I'm not surprised. I like the food, but it's always packed when I go in there.
that's cool. I haven't had Wrights in too long. Big old foot-long chili dog.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'll see y'all later. I know where I'm going with it.
February 1st. Here, I'm so sad to realize that I'm going to have to slowly reintroduce things to my diet because I was really looking forward to the February 1st.
You can start with the regular size hot dog.
I just wanted to invite all my friends over and order everything from Chili's or something. I just wanted to have a ridiculous feast of all the things I've been missing for a month.
Man.
But no, then it's not a good idea. I'm gonna have to slowly. I might have been lactose intolerant.
Oh man.
But then it could be the grains.
Now, I was just listening to David Sedaris today, and he was talking about he got a Fitbit, and it was 10,000 steps he had to do. And then when he got to 10,000, he thought, that's nothing. I'm going to do 12,000. And he got up to he was doing 60,000 steps, which is like 10 miles. But he said
A day?
Yeah, but he said he became so obsessed with it, he couldn't, which I guess people do like you're doing. Like maybe by the time February comes, you're like, no, now cut even more out. And I'm
Right.
like, you know, he said it was just like it took him over, like he couldn't, you know.
Yeah,
I got up to 3,000 that way when I was healthier.
Yeah.
But I would never go.
You were really into your Fitbit there for a while.
I was. Well, I
It's
still
fun.
am. I still use it, but we're down to the hundreds now.
Well,
But the thing one of the things about it that's so interesting is the sleep thing. In measuring when you sleep, how long, and it evaluates everything. So I use the sleep and the steps, but I haven't been able to do my steps in the wintertime, so we'll get back.
Now, he said it was such a reward to hear that it would like tingle or make a noise or something when he reached his goal.
Well, it wasn't. It was just inner satisfaction of accomplishing it. I mean, little light things would go off and everything, but that wasn't what got me happy. But yeah, it definitely has an addictive quality.
Oh, yeah.
The challenge of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's satisfying.
Yeah.
Good day, Squan Joe. Yeah, is that Joe? Whoever Squan Joe is says we had Remedy Burger tonight. Pretty darn good. Somewhat similar sauce to a Super Burger. I haven't tried Remedy Burger yet.
I
Have you had
haven't.
that?
No, I haven't been
Smash
there.
Burger craze.
They got somebody. Maybe you told me they got rid of the online order thing. Where you'd go and have to order on your phone while you were there.
Oh.
And
I got you.
I'm like so incompetent. My whole
Oh,
family,
yeah,
my whole
that's-
family was eating, and I was still like, I would like to, you know. And everybody's like, hurry up! I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
Oh my gosh.
Producer, do you think I should cut the chats off the screen, or is that a good thing? Sort of covers dad up from time to time, right?
Well, that's a good thing.
I don't know if that's a good
Cut
thing.
them off.
Cut them off?
See them in wherever they're at.
Actually, I can do it.
God, all
I
this
was going to teach you. We're trying to slowly trick Kether into becoming a full-fledged podcast producer here. Baby steps. How do we sound in your headphones?
Good.
Nice.
So have either one of you had a Remedy Burger, or you just never been?
I
there?
have not had a Remedy Burger.
They're good. They've got
February 1st.
When are they open?
I think just regular. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But they have. Oh my God! Now I can't ever. What's the fries with cheese and stuff on it? Not truffle fries. Is that what it's called?
Truffle fries sounds really expensive.
It was expensive, but
Oh, really?
My God, it was so good.
So it's just fries with like shaved truffles.
I'm not sure if that's what it's called. It's like a fancy. What's a fancy French fry called?
Curly fries? Waffle fries? I don't understand how they make waffle fries.
Come on, baby, we're going fancy tonight. Curly fries on me.
Big spender.
This guy's loaded.
Holy shit. Welcome to the show, Renee.
It's funny. My car seats are. I mean, you didn't even notice I had new car seats.
Well, no,
My
I just
car
wanted
seats
to
were
get
just like
in.
this.
You didn't-
My
You got new car seats?
Well, my car seats were disgusting. They were just,
Ah.
I've had 4 dogs. They were just covered in every dog mess and ketchup and all the food I eat. And so a lady at work wanted to ride somewhere, and I was like so embarrassed, like, oh. But a friend of mine, Stephanie, had told me, you're never going to be able to take anybody on a date. Your car seats are so nasty. If you go to somebody, just going to go, no, just close the door and walk away. So I was telling her that story. I was trying to. So then they ordered me car seats at work, or car seat covers. They're like the nicest things. I drive now, like, oh, I wave at people. You know, look at me in this car.
And you didn't even notice.
Well, it was
Yeah,
dark. I got in,
Yeah.
and we got here.
He got in. We started arguing.
and we
You
had
started arguing.
we had people beeping. And
That's right.
we had a traffic jam. He parked in the middle of the road.
It
People
was
coming both ways.
it was funny. I
You had
parked.
cones and a flare out to pick Dad up.
He could have pulled in.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Some people pull in the driveway. He just parked in the middle of the road. And Jeff was coming home from work.
Well, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, so I parked right in front of the driveway, and then this car came by, and he said, I think they're trying to get by you. And I said, no, I think they're parking. But he backed in, but then he pulled forward, so I came around the car right when he was coming at me. I like jumped back, because I didn't mean to startle you. I thought he was like pissed at me. He was like trying to run me down.
It was Jeff trying to get in his driveway. Yeah, we had a lot. So I was busy.
Mm.
Plus, it was dark. And
all right. That makes sense.
They were just car seats.
I know,
I mean,
right?
you know.
I mean,
They were.
who's going to notice such a thing?
I
that-
mean,
that's-
I didn't notice how bad they were before.
Right. You didn't even notice that part.
That's the part I messed it up on.
But see, the new car seat cover sort of takes steering right out of the picture.
Why is that? Oh, because you don't want to
'Cause
spill
I
anything
eat
on
like a
your new.
slob,
Right.
yeah.
Well, you go
You have
inside.
to go inside, right?
And I've never eaten inside.
Yeah, well, I used to. See, I would go over there for lunch several times when I was retired. Because I knew Elwood. He
Cash.
died. He died.
Elwood Cash.
And his son.
Jim.
Jim. Yeah.
That's who fired me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Every now and again, I see him
I'm-
out there in
and
the
I know
store or
Jim, I know
something.
Jim, and I know you deserve to be fired. He
Oh
wouldn't-
yeah, I mean he was
wouldn't
right.
have just
I didn't
fired
want that job.
Yeah, he knew. But going back to that earlier discussion, the reason you didn't get hired was they were trying to save people. They would, Nathan would come in and they'd say, "Oh, maybe we can get him off the street,
right.
give him a job, and help him out." But when you
They're
start
focused on
doodling
troubled youth.
when you start doodling on their bags, your time is short.
Right.
That's all I got to say.
I mean, one of my friends, well, he was a friend of a friend. He worked there for like 6 years. He was so heavily into drugs, you could barely have a conversation with him. Like, you would, like, see him after work, and you talk to him, and he'd, like, every other word. And I was like, you work there? They won't hire me? Like, what in the world?
That's exactly right. They were trying to save him.
You know what I think is fascinating on that front is I don't think marijuana actually makes you talk like Jeff Spicoli, but it was an identity thing.
Right.
Like but people talked like they were brain damaged in high school, but it was all affected.
Right.
I believe it was a complete affectation that they were bonding with, like,
Right.
dude, like, I'm telling you, like, I smoked so much today, like, I can't even, like, dude. But it gives the impression to normal people that it's doing devastating effects on the brain, but it was actually more of like wearing like a wardrobe or something.
Right.
You think I'm onto something there?
Yeah.
Well, it goes both ways.
Probably goes.
Like when you were saying that, I was thinking about, I owe you an apology that I have a confession to make in front of the world.
Oh, no.
That the other night when you came over to visit, Kyle came over, we were talking about everything as we do, and I didn't ever tell him the whole time he was there, although he might have surmised that a friend had dropped by a brownie earlier in the day, and it was a dosage issue, and I took a half of that brownie, and I should have taken a fourth of that brownie. But I was on my caboose the whole time you were there.
No,
So
you
that,
seem fine.
That explains why some of the things I said I couldn't remember 3 seconds afterwards. So it's kind of the opposite. I was trying to pretend like I wasn't messed up, and I was, which
Oh, wow.
I didn't do that a whole lot more in my life. Usually I wasn't, with marijuana, I was always too paranoid to do it in public, out and around. I would never go to work or anything like that. So that wasn't so much a problem. But
You know what I want data on is, that used to be the most common thing, like, oh, I can't smoke pot, it makes me paranoid. I wonder if now that it's legal, if that symptom has decreased.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I
think
feel
a little bit maybe in some ways.
I feel like it was a big part of it. It was illegal. You could go to jail for doing it. Like maybe it's not a psychotropic effect of the drug that it makes you paranoid, but maybe the fact that you're engaging in an illicit behavior, and the illicit behavior you're engaging in is something that increases your senses and your takes any feeling and amplifies it.
Maybe.
So if you're just a little bit nervous about getting in some deep trouble, then you might think like, oh, that drug makes me paranoid. But maybe it was the...
But, there are different things you fear. So your paranoia is not just about the legal system.
That's true.
Although
what people
that's
think of you,
well,
social anxiety.
How you behave, and everybody knows I'm stoned, and,
Right.
like they don't think I can behave, and or you do something that you shouldn't do, and now they're going to think I'm stoned, and so
I'm
so
still
it's
I'm still traumatized by the the life of it being illegal and always having to hide it or whatever. Like, I still am not comfortable not hiding it. Like, I would sip a beer on stream in a second, but smoking a pipe or something, like, I still feels like...
Oh, yeah. Well, I think, at this point, all of us, older adults that grew up in that time, are always going to feel that way. That's the way we lived for so long. I'm going to change the subject.
Change it
before I
up.
forget, right here. I want to bring this out.
Oh, is that the... Oh, look at that.
You're going to love this book, Kethra, and you're going to love this book.
Here, I'll hold it up to the camera.
What is it? The National what?
It's the book about this neighborhood, Newtown.
Man, let's just deep dive this.
But I read the first part where it
Oh,
does
look at that. Oh, this is gonna
the
be
history, which is fascinating. It goes back to, most of this was 1700s when it was first a settlement, and then it grew and they had the lots. But most of the book is house by house.
Oh, wow.
And they
Is ours in here?
I don't know.
Probably
I
not.
don't think so. But
It's not
but
that old.
if it isn't, ones right nearby are.
Definitely the Belgrade will be.
Oh yeah, but they talk about the people that live there. I mean, you can. It's the best way to read that would be to take the book and go find a section of the town and go and read it and walk around in there. And I haven't, so I didn't read the whole book. After a while, it's just about individual houses, but it goes through the family history of the house.
Wow.
And it's fascinating. You got all the architecture and the people that built these houses, and it's a remarkable thing. It goes all the way back to when people had chicken coops, and back in they had their families. Everybody had an outhouse.
Right.
There wasn't a sewage system, so it's interesting, fascinating stuff. But it's perfect for you guys.
Virginia Female Institute. Is that Stuart Hall?
It's either that or Mary Baldwin. But I think it is Stuart Hall. They had several different names as they evolved.
Mary Baldwin wouldn't be considered Newtown, would it?
No, but Stuart Hall is at least part of it.
Man, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, you can go right to the house and then read about it. It's just like a great tour book. Who wrote it? Mrs. Brown? Is it Nan?
Catherine L. Brown.
Catherine Brown. She did a wonderful job. What a gift.
I'm going to see what we can find there.
And if I can go back for a second, if you're from out of town and you're looking for a good place to eat in Stanton, Wright's Dairy Right is actually a good place. We were making fun of it, but it's actually
That was delicious.
Oh, it's a legend.
It's don't think that they have weirdos working in there. You won't like the food. Everything's good.
Yeah, I want to do nothing but be positive about Dairy Right. It's one of our.
Dana says Mary Baldwin is Gospel Hill area, I think. Is that a
Gospel
district?
Hill.
Gospel Hill.
I love it.
Yeah, I guess, when was Wright's, did it precede you, or did it?
I think they started in the 50s. So I was going to say earlier, my claim to fame was after a Lehigh football game, which we would win, of course, and I would star in, of course. And we would go out there and we'd have about 5 guys, and I would order 3 super burgers and a chocolate milk shake.
Oh, man. God. Isn't that great?
Wow.
Holy moly.
And I would nail them.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't phase you, but you're stronger for doing it.
Yeah.
Now, how much did that cost back then? Like $2 or something?
Oh yeah,
Right.
what, $5, 3.
If
But
that.
yeah, but all along it was really hard for me to go with whether I go with barbecue or the super burger. Almost always got a super burger, but sometimes I got a barbecue too. But I love the barbecue. But
2 patties, secret sauce. I guess it's like the Stanton version of the Big Mac.
Yeah, the secret sauce was hard to beat,
Did they?
and it's still the same. You get one now, it's still
Still the
tasty.
same,
Now,
right.
how many spaces are there? Do you know? From
That-
working there.
So just for people that don't live around here, Wright's Dairy Right is your classic 50s. You pull into a slot and there's the menu and a speaker, intercom speaker, and you hit the button and order from your car, and then they deliver it to your car. Did it start out with roller skating? Did they ever roller skate? That was the classic with
I don't think
places
so.
like that.
I think just because of the way the thing was built, it didn't lend itself to that. I don't remember any roller skating.
Okay. Looks like the kind of place that you'd see in old 50s movies.
Right.
But is there like 20? You think there's 20 parking spaces or not that many?
Probably more than that. I'd say like 30 or 40. I don't know about intercoms though, but yeah. I don't know exactly. I should know the exact number.
So-
Malted milkshakes. That was one of their big things.
So when an order came, it would say like what, spot 7 or spot 4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. Time out. I almost forgot. Onion rings.
Onion rings.
Oh,
Yeah.
Best onion rings in the world.
This cat is going to shut down our whole situation. We do have a cat right now that's in all the wires and climbing over all the buttons. So if we hit radio silence or something, don't worry, we have a producer on hand that can fix all this for us. So
He's like, no more talk about rights. Come on.
gosh, I wish y'all could see this. Actually,
Yeah. So what's the? I mean, I must have gone inside if I applied for a job there, but
say hey Pip. I put up that clackboard to keep her from doing that when she discovered that the other night. I was like, oh no, she's gonna like this spot.
so was Wright's like the first was that considered fast food back then, or that was just a different type of restaurant?
It was a different type of restaurant. I don't remember ever going inside when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
That was reserved when I knew Elwood and Raymond Shull, and I knew people in there. I'd go in to hang out with them at lunch. That was back in the 80s and 90s. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
when you're
in
a
the
kid,
day, you always went there.
for the novelty of getting it
And-
delivered to your car is part of the whole
Yeah.
appeal.
And I took dates there, I had dates that we would go there. Big spender that I am.
I believe I took Cather on a date there.
I'd like to say I paid for everything, but I'm not sure I did.
I always like going there and hearing people argue about what they want. Like they're leading to the kids in the back. What? No, they don't have that. No, what do you want?
Well, you know something I hate is I'm a very indecisive person, always have been, and a menu with too many options will stump me. And one of my least favorite things in life is the drive-through because because you get up there and then you have all these options, but then you have all these people behind you, and you just feel like they're just about to honk the horn at any moment. I can't handle the pressure. And the more the pressure is, the least able I am to decide. So I end up just
Give me
like
combo number 4.
yeah, at the last minute, I just blurt that out. It's always combo number 4. I don't know how you knew that. And then I'm ultimately disappointed. I'm like, well, that was stressful, and now I got this. I don't like combo number 4. Why do I always say that? Yeah, that's a very, very stressful thing for
A
me.
lot of times they have places where you can park and walk in. I think you should.
I should probably do that.
Yeah, I think you should
Yep.
do that. Be a lot more relaxing for you.
Right. Then you have just
But Dairy Right was good because you could look at that thing.
You can sit
forever.
there all the
yeah.
time you want.
Yeah, just push that button and they're always.
It's the best of all those worlds. You don't have
Yeah.
to leave the car. You don't have to deal with people, and but you don't have to hurry up and order. It's all the things. Let's just take the show to rights right now. I think I can stream live on the phone.
Now,
I bet they have nothing I can eat on my diet. I bet there's not a single thing. French fries.
I've never done this there, but can you if you eat, can you order more if you want to? Or are they just like
sure.
you
Good,
pay?
yeah, sure. But at
You
the
have
free
to
Super
drive
Bowl-
around the parking lot and repark.
I mean, what do you just keep hitting the button? It's me again. Huh?
He's
They're
been
all looking out the window.
He's been out there for
That
6
dude's still
hours.
there. One more onion rings for number 6. We're losing money. He's never gonna leave. He's reading a Newtown book out there, eating onion rings, enjoying the day.
I'm trying to remember what their desserts are. I know the milkshakes were a big deal,
they're
and the
good.
malted milkshake, which is just a powder you add, by the way. The malt. If someone wants their milkshake malted, you put in the powder. Like malted milk. I don't know. It's like crushed up
I've
malted.
never had a malted milkshake.
Oh, really?
No.
Man.
That's what my grandmother used to always. I want a malt. Where I was like, a malt. Okay, Grandma, we're gonna get you a milkshake. Let's go.
You ever had a genuine fountain soda? You remember those? Well, I guess that's all you had at the
In the
beginning.
day,
Like with the water and the
Hodgins
stuff all comes
drugstore.
out. Or...
I used to, remember the newsstand that was downtown? It was all magazines and
Oh, yeah.
newspapers from
Oh,
all
yeah.
over the world.
One
and
on the corner,
before
yeah.
school, we'd go in there and get a cheese Danish and the fountain Coca-Cola. But apparently, it's like a fountain drink. It's like they're making a Coca-Cola right there.
Right.
It's two different. I don't even know what
that place
it is, but
called?
it's mixed as it comes. The whole innovation of being able to pour a drink out, and it's all I don't know what I'm talking about enough to make this interesting. But I know that there was something going on. It was like a syrup
Yeah,
mixed in on the scene
the sparkling water.
with the
yeah.
sparkling water that made you a Coke.
Carbonated water.
Yeah.
I used
the
to
whole
have
thing.
I used to have a friend. His dad drove a Pepsi truck, and he had like an account down there. It was back in the day. You know, you could just at the end of the month
An
they'd give
account.
you your your bill or whatever. So he told, because he had all the magazines and comics and stuff. So he told his son he could get comics. You know, just put it on his account. So we would hang out, and my friend would have like a big old bag, and I'd be like, "What did you get?" He goes, "Well, I got 2 of each comic, 1 to save for the value, and 1 to read, and then I got like 10 dirty magazines." I was like, and he said his dad would come over like, "Alex, you spent $500 on magazines." Well, Dad had to get a copy of each. There 2 copies of each comic, and I got Hustler and Penthouse and Playboy, and like every damn dirty magazine there was. I was like, oh my God, my dad would have like just told me, don't ever go in that store again if I'd ever done that. And I'm sure the guy behind the cashier was like, oh, okay, but putting this on your dad's account, okay.
I bet he's rich now with those mint editions of all those comics he got back in the day.
Not to mention Penthouse.
April's in the house. Good to see you, April. Welcome to the show. You can still get malted milk. It's dry like a powder. You could do this at home.
Wow.
Uh-oh. What were you trying to do?
Am I fired?
No.
What in the world?
I was trying to put that up so Pip couldn't get back there.
You might
Oh.
you might as well go apply it right there, right now.
Sorry, y'all.
You're good. We clear? Sound-wise?
Yep.
It's working. Renee Barry King, welcome to the show.
Hi, Renee.
Let's go to the phones. My girls are experts on Wright's desserts.
Oh yes.
Ooh.
Tell
We,
us what
we
they
should have
are.
a phone line. Now that we have a producer, we could be receiving calls. Just call the hotline.
Call the hotline.
For
Now,
the-
now are Wright's desserts like made by some like local lady, or they just bought it off the back of the truck?
I can't remember what their desserts are. I'm just thinking of milkshakes. I'm waiting for more.
I'm never a dessert guy.
Renee's going to fill us in here. Squanjo says, happy late birthday, Dana. Hot brownie.
Man, with fudge on it or just brownie?
Hot brownie.
With malted stuff put on top
With
of it?
a little
Malted hot
put
brown.
malt on anything.
I want a brownie with
Sprinkle
some,
it on
with
their
some
French
malt,
fries.
with some malt dust sprinkled on top.
So, tell the story just for a second of Kyle tuned into my stream. I feel like what I've been up to lately is a little bit strange, and hard to describe. But you tuned into my stream the other night, and
It was very
how would you
fun.
describe? What do you think I'm doing?
It was watching. I mean, to watch it, you realize how, or I realized how little I know about music, or how little tuned my ears are.
can
So
relate.
Nathan was just like fine tuning this, like 45 seconds of a song, and just going back and playing it over and over and over, and just tweaking it just a little bit at a time. And I don't even know what made me think of it. I said, what if you just drop everything out and put just the claps in? And then he liked that. So I'm like sitting up in bed. Yes, he likes it. Oh, I'm like, and so then, but it's just it's interesting to watch how you can just control everything, and you just listen to it and you're like, no. Then you picked up the guitar and played something and said, well, I got to get something to match up. And I was like, oh, I'm obviously hearing much more than I am. It's like watching somebody know what they're doing. It's like going to the glass blowing place. Somebody blows, they have a glass bowl. It was sort of like watching you do that. Like I just listen.
Right.
I listen to a song. I don't realize how much work goes into getting that exact sound. So it's very interesting, to realize. I don't want to say how little I know, but. How much you know, I guess, be a better way of putting it.
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah, the more it's the old adage of the more you know, the more you know
Realize you don't know
what you don't know. So
but it was weird after you would do it, and like you would make like a slight adjustment, and then like the fourth time you played it, I'd be like, God, you sort of can hear. Even I could like hear the difference.
Right.
But like you would never my brain would never think, oh, this would sound better if you did, this.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work at a record store with a friend like that, and he would like take albums home and like remix them himself, then bring them to you, and you'd be like, what is this? He said, doesn't this sound better? You'd listen to it like, it does sound better, but he would like take like old punk albums, where they just on a dime, record it and everything, and he had like I guess something like this at home, and he'd take it all and break it down. And
I have friends like
if
that
if they had actual time and money and somebody knew what they were doing, it could have sounded so much better.
Right, for sure.
That was good old Charlie Over.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was mixing this one part, and Kyle signs on, and he's just like, "Can I hear it with just the claps and the vocals?" And actually, you want to cue that up? Just, the far left tab on the browser there.
Stop! She's all stoned and paranoid right now.
I would like to say that I have not had a brownie tonight.
Me neither.
This is all
with
me.
with those glasses on, we're not going to believe that. you had the full brownie tonight, didn't you?
He did not have part of a brownie tonight.
I did not.
He did not have a little bit of a brownie.
He had the full brownie, and he did not notice my new car seats.
Well, you were earlier than I thought. I had to just stuff the whole thing in my mouth.
So play just the end of the song there. And this is a whole arrangement that happened all because Kyle just happened to sign in that night while I was doing this. So far. This will work. And he was like, "Could I hear just the claps and the vocals?" And now that's how it is on the website. Oh, it's halfway through, last verse. Percy April says hi. There you go. You're never gonna find finer than any one of them. Wherever you are on this wacky world. You can cut out that green knob. No, on the. Yep. Here it goes. So let's go sing a long song to Jesus. Co-producer, Rick Rubin. All the souls that have come along to free us and made life
very good.
Worth living. I mean, how could it not go like that now?
But it was so interesting.
All right, you can stop it.
And made life worth living so far.
So it sounds to me like you're going to have to listen in more.
Well, I'm just sitting there like, I like the echoey sound. I'm saying stuff. He's probably like, there's terms for that, But then I was like, like when I said something, he didn't just like act like he didn't read it. He's like, oh, let's try it. Like,
almost anything. If anybody that signs in that wants me to try something or hear something, that's sort of what I'm doing.
Right.
So I'm there for that. I got the idea because all the kids these days just watch each other play video games. There's a whole app called Twitch, which is just people playing video games and interacting with the people watching them. And I was like, well, why don't we just try that with like my music recording and stuff like that? People can watch me mix a song, and I'll interact with them when they comment in.
So
and
why are we on Twitch?
Just you just never know. You just never know.
I don't understand so much.
Well, if there's somebody on there and they're like looking, I feel like we'd stick out on the list of videos that are going on right now. It'd be like video game, 3 dudes. And there's probably somebody that clicked on us just now, and they're just like, what the? Just looking to break it up a little bit.
Oh, but you have to be disappointed that we're not talking about video games.
That's true.
Don't you think?
We could talk about video games.
Well, I just finished. I just finished everything I know.
That's
video
it.
games. So that was quick.
but also something else about. So he was listening to that song. He gets it. And he's like, all right, I like it. This sounds good. And he's like, well, what can we do now? And all of a sudden, this music starts playing in the background, and he just bends over and he comes up with a clarinet and starts playing. And I'm just sitting there like, no lie, I felt like, and I don't even know what Woody Herman plays. Does he play the clarinet?
I have no idea. I've never even heard of that person.
So,
Yeah. So I was like, man, I feel like I was like 1940s, like in Manhattan, watching Woody Herman, and and like the Midnight Serenaders. He was just sitting there, and I was like, what in the world? We just listened to this song. Now all of a sudden he's just like, all right, on to something else.
I always try to have surprises up my sleeve for people that log on. So I'm not just determined to just be mixing music. Like sometimes I'll start doing puppets. Sometimes I'll start taking requests and singing songs. Sometimes we'll all play a game together. Oh, it's just trying to.
It was very
because
fun.
I spent the last 2 years doing this nightly show, and it was a show every night at whenever 1:30 or whatever. For an hour and a half, I was doing a show with opening credits and always playing, and it just it was a lot of work, and it was really exhausting or whatever. And then I stopped doing it because it just wasn't growing. But then I sort of missed the streaming. So what I've been doing lately, I've been doubting it, is why I'm talking about it, because I don't really know what I'm doing either. I was curious what you thought I was doing.
Well, I turned in. You were texting us, or you were whatever you call it.
Chatting with Discord.
Yeah, well, somebody else was on there.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Agave or something.
Oh, Dr. Agave.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. That guy tuned in to a YouTube stream and then found himself in Discord, and he came in and his name was Dragave, and I was like, Dragav, and he was like, yeah, it's like Dragon plus Dave was his name. Dragave. And then Magpie was in there, and she was like, oh, I thought it was Dr. Agave. So the next day he's back, and he's changed his Discord name to Dr. Agave. And I was like, all right, it's official.
So you don't even know who that guy is?
Mm-mm.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's sort
But
of...
I have an appointment with him.
We're going to get you fixed up.
Yeah, he said he could do my foot, and I'm going over.
You get some more brownies from him, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, he said I could pay him in brownies. But, I don't
Well,
know
I remember at one point you were talking about, you were just like, I thought you were talking to him like a private joke. You're talking about you wanted a drink, and like, what is it called? And
Oh, that was just
yeah,
free
so
association.
You were just like riffing on it, but I was thinking, wait a minute, it's funny, but is he talking to the other guy? Does the other guy know what he's talking about? But then he never responded, so I thought, I guess he's just making
just riffing, just riffing. I did play that for Cather the next day though, just because it felt like a genuine late night radio vibe. Every now and again, fall into a nice little pocket of late night radio. You just feel like you're just sending out transmission into the universe. There's some shortwave radio operator out there that's going to catch your signal.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, "What'd you do last night?" I said, "Well, I went to bed, and I was just laying in bed with Nathan working on music." And he's like, "What?"
He's got co-producer credits now. Christiana in the house. Hey.
Hey, Christiana.
She says, "Long live OK Google it. We miss it."
Oh,
All right. Well, let's do a quick moment of it. Why don't you throw out a trivia question? First right answer in the chat wins the game. 1 point. We're playing for 1 point. Might even be able to talk Taos Hum into sending you a bottle of hot sauce.
You go down to Wrights and tell them to give you a hot
Yeah,
brownie.
come up with a little trivia question. We'll do a quick speed round
okay.
of OK Google. During the pandemic, we did a game show where Dad would come up with 20 questions. It was a great operation, pandemic times. Taos Hot Sauce sponsored it and would send 2 bottles of hot sauce to the winner. But Dad would be at his house. Kether would be upstairs in the TV room. We'd have 3 different cameras. Kether was keeping score on a piece of paper, write down the names of everybody that got a point. 20 questions. First right answer in the chat got the points, and whoever won got 1 hot sauce called OK Google It. And we'll just do a little speed round here.
What man do you think of when you try to learn the colors of the rainbow in order?
What man do you think of when you try to learn the colors of the rainbow in order? First right answer in the chat.
You can't play.
Kyle. Roy G. Biv.
That's what I was going to say.
Point.
Ding, ding, ding. Oh, there's a sound effects producer. Wait. No, wait. Let's turn around that little. Let's do one more. We'll do one more. Mini OK Google
You
it.
just think I have these layers
Well, no, I'll procrastinate till you got something.
You have to say who won.
Oh, I do. Yep. That was the right answer.
Is that the winning sound?
Was Adam J. Strom.
Way to go, Adam J. Strong.
Congratulations, Adam. Way to go.
Good
All right,
job,
so
Adam.
hit those to light them up. Now you see we got a producer in training here.
Adam J.
So,
Strong.
When he asks the question, hit that. And then when we get a right answer, hit that and cut that one off.
All right, Adam, 2 in a row. Let's go for it.
All right, Adam.
I'm rooting for you, buddy. Come on.
Well,
We have a lot of right answers in here. Bob Dylan. That's not the right answer.
that's usually the answer because that's usually the questions I ask.
Oh, Percy got it right. Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Extra points.
I wouldn't have known all that probably.
Mm-hmm.
I would have stumbled over indigo.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Well, I saw a good Nova the other night. I don't watch that. I used to watch that
Nova,
religiously, but I just accidentally saw it. But it was about chemical reactions. Beautiful show. I loved it. It was right up, what I dig.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about all kinds of good chemical reactions, but I don't know. All right, here's the next question from that show. I don't know if it's from that show or not, but what is the chemical formula of the material that they call dry ice?
Wow.
Wow.
What is the chemical formula for the material they call dry ice?
And so people would know it and type it in, or if they didn't know it, they'd Google it.
Okay, Google it. Yeah, if you don't know it, Google it.
And because we knew you couldn't stop them from doing that.
Right. So we just embraced it.
It's actually funny. I went to a trivia, I went to a bar to play trivia a couple weeks ago. And one of the questions is, what is a toad? And
What is a
But
toad?
what is it classified? It's a lizard because, as you said, it's born in the water but lives on the
It's an
ground.
amphibian. It's not
Yeah.
a lizard.
Oh,
Yeah, lizard's a reptile.
Maybe I heard it
You
wrong.
made
All
a
right,
mistake.
N?
Hmm?
N?
No.
Nope. Is there a wrong answer buzzer over there?
Come on, Adam J. Strong, you got it.
NO2.
No,
Nope. CO2.
correct.
Ooh, right answer. J-Dot with the right answer.
J-Dot.
CO2 is the right answer.
Yeah.
What's
Your
all,
imaginary hot sauce is on the way.
what's all this? How come everybody with a J in their name wins? J. Dodd and Adam J.
That's a
Strong.
good question. That's a good question.
Ben was close, but close second.
Timing-wise,
Yeah. Timing wise the same, but J-Dog came in first.
But you know,
J-Dot had the
you
advantage.
think
He's in
about that.
Discord.
Think about what dry ice is. Everybody's seen it. You know, like at church picnics, they used to have dry ice, and you look at it, it's steaming up, but carbon dioxide is what we're exhaling right now.
Right.
And it's as a pure gas, it has a freezing point like a minus 300 or something like that. So you freeze it, and it's a solid, but as soon as you expose it to the air, it just boils. So
It boils?
It's going from a liquid, a gas. It sublimes. That's what it does. It goes, if you go directly from a solid to a gas, that's called sublimation.
Wow.
And I haven't taught that in 20 years.
Wow.
So,
That's cool.
But so it sublimes, so it doesn't go to a liquid, you're right. But it is releasing that heat. It's absorbing the heat, which makes everything cold. So that's how it works.
Wow.
But
Gosh, could you talk about that a little bit more? Absorbs the heat, so it makes everything cold. Is that what you said?
well, yeah, other things around it. It's absorbing the heat from other things. So in other words, these carbon dioxides are stuck together. So it takes heat, it absorbs heat from the environment and pulls them apart, and then they go away and they float up into the air. Now, what you see is not the carbon dioxide, that white looks like smoke coming off of that. That's really not carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide you can't see. But what it is water molecules in the air that are getting cooled and condensing into a cloud. So what you're getting is it's subliming and absorbing heat from the environment.
So dry ice, that's what we're talking about, right? Dry
Right.
ice. Is carbon dioxide frozen
Yep.
and it becomes a solid?
Yeah, you can make a solid block of ice out of it, or ice of carbon dioxide.
And it goes, and
But you
does
have
it
to
have a
have a
liquid?
lot of
Does it have a?
pressure.
It doesn't have a liquid form. It's just
It
gas or
could
solid.
there's probably a range where it's a liquid, but that range doesn't exist except in a controlled setting. You could probably have a liquid.
So you could have liquid carbon dioxide.
Theoretically you could, but you don't. And that's because the carbon dioxides are perfectly covalent and don't attract each other, whereas water molecules are polar and hold on to each other. And that's why water has so many unusual properties.
Wow.
And carbon dioxide doesn't have those.
Do we create carbon dioxide?
Well, when you burn something, you're burning the carbon in your food is reacting with the oxygen in the air that you're breathing.
Now you're just making stuff up. I feel like.
Well, you're burning. It's burning. Carbon plus oxygen is carbon dioxide. That's the root of burning. Your food that you're eating is carbon and hydrogen. And the carbon burns, and C plus O2 yields CO2. And in that reaction, you get a release. That's where you get the fire. That's where you get the energy released. More stable molecule forms. And then with the hydrogens, the same thing happens, but your product is water. So when you burn stuff, you make water.
Interesting.
That's the essence of burning.
Is carbon the only thing that burns?
No. Mm-mm. Remember, I used
It's
to,
carbon, though, isn't it?
Remember, if you ever you ever see magnesium burn? It has this bright light that almost it can actually hurt your eyes.
Right.
You used to, chemistry teachers, weird ones, used to light the magnesium and it would.
Right.
But it also put people's eyes out, so I stopped doing
Oh,
it.
you stopped
No,
doing
not
it.
that. I never did that.
You never did that?
Well, no, I used to do it, but I tell them not to look at it.
I'm gonna do something. Everybody step outside of the room. Come back in. What'd you think? That was great.
You didn't make them go outside.
Close
You
your
told
eyes.
them to look the other way
Right.
because you knew they couldn't.
Oh my God! My brother told me the best story about you.
Oh no!
He said that you had a talent for recognizing people's. Oh, you can't use. I shouldn't use the word talent twice. You had a talent for realizing people's abilities. Let's say. So, one day he had you as a chemistry teacher, and it had snowed, and all the branches on the trees were like down to the ground. And he sat in the very back, and you looked, and you said, you picked him and said, take this broom and go outside and knock all the ice off the trees so the branches will go back. And he said how he knew that I didn't understand chemistry and that I would be better served knocking ice off the branches. He told me that. He told me that at Christmas. So he said he's out there. He said probably all other teachers are looking at him with a broom knocking it off. But then he said also probably nobody else in that school besides you gave a shit that you wanted to save the branches on the trees.
That's pretty good.
Well,
I just remember that.
I think he gives me too much credit. I think I could have said that nobody in the room knew what I was talking about. But he's saying, "Look, you just gave me a while ago."
But he said
It's
it
like a
was
dog
fun.
watching TV.
Just shaking your
He
head.
said, he said it was funny. He said you looked down and you just looked around and you pointed at him like you didn't even say, does anybody want to do it? You just said, you're going to do it.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't give him an option to go out in the snow.
Well,
But we were all up there watching him. I'm sure he had his moment of fame.
now for all you long-term viewers, the question is, if you take all the people in the world, what's the average number of testicles on each person? Long-term viewers should know the answer to this.
Ding, ding. 1.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that night, but it talks. What that speaks to me about is, and we were talking about the idea of how you can make statistics say anything, and we see that all
the time.
I've seen 2 ads in the last day of things that they're like that stuff they sell late at night where they, try to get you after you had a few drinks. And
Couple of
I don't even know
brownies.
what they were selling, but 2 of them in the last day, 2 different companies said that you need to make this call tonight because we are stopping production of this product next week. So you need to call before we stop making it. And that's just bullshit. That's just not true.
Right,
If they don't sell any, they'll stop. But if they keep selling them, they're going to keep making them. But they're trying to scare you, and it's just a lie. It's people like that shouldn't be doing that.
I feel like you're watching QVC. Are you watching QVC?
Then what's that?
It's like the
Online shopping.
the shopping channel on TV.
Oh no, I'm talking about.
I'm sure they really do that.
I'm talking about ball games. But,
You at the end of the next commercial. If they're stopping production next week, that's bullshit.
Yeah, we do have the next one. We got a theme. Before I forget, though, employing your chemistry knowledge and your poetry knowledge, why do you think the word sublime means those? Seems like a weird word to mean.
I agree. It hit me that's a funny. It's a word almost out of context to put it like that. Because I had never used it, and I might be wrong, but that's just my memory of teaching it. Because you didn't teach it for very long, because there's not that many things subliming around that are that interesting. But sublime as an adjective and sublime as a verb.
Sublimation is the transition of a substance directly from a solid state to a gas state.
Right.
But why would you say that this afternoon is sublime or this day on the beach is
that's a totally
sublime?
different
Yeah, but it's such a
term.
specific word that there's got to be some connection.
So what's the exact definition of sublime?
We can ask Percy. Isn't that what you just looked up?
The rock band.
Right.
Beauty is to inspire great admiration.
Wait, say it again.
Of such excellence, grandeur, or beauty as to inspire great admiration or awe. Mozart's sublime piano concerto.
Right. To change from a solid to a gas.
Yeah, that's two completely different things.
Two completely different things.
Well, I guess it's to go from the average, which we're all used to just something so beyond belief. It just skips the talented. It goes from.
I don't know. I don't think they have. I would love to know the derivation because that's two. It's like it came from two different directions.
Right.
And just happened to hit.
Which could be the case.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm having trouble with the language in a couple ways. Here's one that really bothers me, and I'm speaking as a guy that uses words in poetry and stuff. But T-E-A-R.
Tear.
Tear, tear. Who knows?
Right.
It only has any not. You can only know in context.
Yeah, I mean, I have a tear in my eye. Sounds terrible.
I know. I have a tear in my eye, and
from wiping tears.
Yeah, well, you know, I've made that poem. It's a terrible poem. You don't want to hear it.
It's a terrible poem.
It's a terrible. Yeah, that was in there. It goes on and on. I tore it up. I teared it up.
Y'all are terrific.
Terrific. Does Dad's microphone sound okay? Should we move it to the other pocket?
I sound fine.
When he looks at
but
us.
words like that, that's no way to make a language. Who's in charge of these words that are coming out? You know, at the end of the year, they introduce 20 or hundreds of new words that have been invented. Who says?
Right.
Just because your Game Boy says, you came up with it.
But you do have to. I mean, you got to admire the keeping up with the times.
I got him.
Your Game Boy.
It's just crazy.
All right, you Twitch fans, you got your first shout out there.
Oh yeah,
this is why we're on Twitch, so we can get the answer to these questions.
I am here for you Twitchers.
All right, Twitch and you Game Boy fans, tell us the difference between tear and tear.
I think it's pretty weird how that like Russian, French, German, English, completely different languages all use the same letters.
I agree.
It's weird.
Well, I agree.
I don't
but
mean,
you know, even weirder is that stuff that there's Chinese and there's weird people.
Arabic and the
they've
symbols.
got these symbols that, boy, that looks hard.
It does look hard.
I don't see how you do that.
Well, yeah, that would be hard to learn, I bet.
I never even thought about this, but tear and tear. So when somebody says it tore me up, does that mean it teared you up or it tore you up?
It's tear.
Tear, yeah.
But if you get tore up, don't you start crying too? Aren't you teared up?
Well, that's a different thing.
It works.
It's a different thing, but you'd never know it by the way it's spelled.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff like that in the English language.
So you think tear should be T-E-E-R? Maybe. That'd be a fix.
Yeah, well, it should be something else, and I'm not sure. I haven't really thought to vote. We ought to change. But the problem is there's nobody you can go to and complain.
No.
They don't have anybody out there.
Dear Webster.
Of course, some.
Dear Miriam.
Have y'all ever seen?
Isn't that Webster's first name? Yeah. Miriam.
Have y'all ever read the book or seen the movie about the dictionary? The Webster's dictionary.
What about it?
It's a crazy story. There was a guy that the guy that committed murder, and he got locked in like a mental institute, and he was writing the definitions of all these words, and they didn't know where they were coming from. And he went to meet him, and he was locked in this place, locked in a mental. I read the book.
Didn't we watch that down here? I just had a memory.
Something in the Madman.
Yeah, it's got it's like some famous star in it.
I read the book too.
Yeah, the book's amazing. The book's better than the movie, it's always. But
What's the name of the book? What are we talking about?
yeah, it's something.
The Professor
In
and
the Madman. Yeah.
Or
Well, so they were trying to make the first dictionary, or not the first, but like they were going to make this definitive dictionary, and anybody could send in definitions, and they would this group of guys were like trying to compile the best definitions, and this one guy just kept sending in more and more and more. They wanted to meet him, and he was locked up. He had murdered somebody.
He was in a sanitarium,
Yeah,
right?
he was like he went crazy and murdered somebody. So he was locked up, and they were trying to punish him. But so they said, no, give him all the research material he needs, and make sure he's got everything he wants. And
That was a cool movie.
yeah,
I remember that.
I don't
Doug
know.
Simpson in the house.
Doug.
All wizards sublimate before they disappear. It's grand. Little cryptic interjection there.
Yeah. I just saw your sister this
He's
weekend.
been very
Doug.
cryptic lately.
Paul Pena, we'll miss you on the ship, brother. Oh, you guys have fun out there. Have you heard about this? I'm not doing Jam Cruise anymore.
Right.
But there's this festival on a cruise ship. I don't know if you've heard of this, Jam Cruise. So it's just a music festival on a cruise ship. Everybody on there is there for the music festival. And I did it for 10 years.
Wow.
And from the very beginning, me and my buddy Brian Elijah Smith, we got on Jam Cruise. And the first year that I was on, Brian and I just started playing in the place, in this one same spot every night. We go down like we were busking, just like outside the jam room. We did it the first night all night. The second night comes along, Brian's like, well, should we head to the spot? Like, yeah, let's go down to the spot. And so we did that.
So y'all were booked to be on, or you just went?
I was booked, and I
okay.
brought him as a guest, but I only had like one set for the
Okay.
5 days or
Okay.
whatever. So every night we just went down and played in the same spot every night, and it became this thing. People were like hanging out with us. Other musicians would bring their instruments. The next year I got on again, all because my band got hired this time, Surprising Mr. Davis. And I was like, last year we played in this spot every night. I'm going to do it again this year. And my bandmates joined me. After that, the next year, I got hired to do the spot. That's all. It was on our laminates. And I got to bring friends and just play music in the spot.
Oh, so cool.
10 years later, I did it every year called the spot. But each year it got harder and harder to do because we really played more than anybody else on that boat, just like playing and drinking hard 5 nights in a row.
Right.
Now that I'm in my 50s, it was taking more of a toll every year, and I wanted to leave on a high note, so I retired from doing the spot. So this will be the first year without me.
Oh.
But they have hired a band to hold down the spot. It's become an institution that we just accidentally created.
Wow.
So now there's a band called the Sweet Lilies that are hired specifically to come host the spot. So I created a venue on this cruise ship for this Jam Cruise that will live on without me.
Now, what would they do if you said you just wanted to come and not play? Then they would.
I might test them on that one day. Can I just get hired again to come perform?
Would you be able to do that though without getting out and performing? Like if they said you can just come and enjoy it, or would you feel the urge?
I'd have to do something.
Magic.
Well, that's already happened, hasn't it? So I thought Hillary had pictures. Maybe she was talking about the past. Hillary was there. She said it was a great one.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Jam Cruise.
Oh, no, it's coming up.
Okay.
It's about, someone was just in the chat saying, we'll miss you on the ship, brother.
That's what I was wondering, because I thought Hillary, you know Hillary.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She's a star there, but she was putting up pictures that I thought had already been.
It's going a little bit later this year, I think in the very beginning of February. They set sail.
You don't miss it?
Yes and no.
Right.
Boy, I mean I was each time my recovery when I get back home took longer. In fact, the last one took so long that we still think I might have had COVID.
Really?
Might have been one of the first. I don't know, but it's so hard to tell the difference because no matter what, it always took a lot out of me.
A good hangover and COVID, I could barely tell the difference.
From a 5-day bender. Oh, the professor in the Adam J. Strom says Strom or Strom, The Professor and the Madman,
Yep.
A Tale of Murder, Insanity, and the Making of the Oxford English Dictionary
Thank you, Mr. Man.
by Simon Winchester.
Oh my God! Thank you. It's a beautiful read. The movie's really good, but it's a very intense, beautiful read also.
That's cool.
Isn't it like Robert Downey? No, who's
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson? Yeah,
Mel Gibson was in that?
yeah, he plays the madman. Yeah.
Typecast.
The genius Mel Gibson is the only one that could capture this. No, did you get to actually go see bands perform, or you were just drinking and sleeping and performing, or you went? And
Well,
saw
with playing all night, I mean, the spot would go from around midnight or 1 till we brought the sun up every
them?
night.
My God.
So the first couple of years I did it, I tried to do everything, and I could. You know, did a couple of the day trips where ports and you get off and go do stuff. By the end, it was everything. I had to use all my strength to pull off the all night thing. So I was usually sleeping all day and just not kept taking in as much. It was diminishing every year. You know, it's funny because I would always make montage videos. Like I would film a bunch whenever I did a festival or a special thing. I would shoot a lot with my camera. Then when I got home, I would make a montage video from my weekend or my experience at that festival. And with Jam Cruise, I definitely did that. Would shoot a lot of stuff with my camera. Then when I get home, I would take a song I wrote on the boat or something and make a video about my experience. And if you look at my videos over the 10 years, like the first year is like shots from every stage, and I mean it's like I was everywhere at once, and each progressive year till year 10, I think I had one little video from when we're like docking at the end of the week, like it's like some weird shot of a forklift or something. Like it's all I got. Each video each year it just becomes more and more minimalistic.
There's no islands and there's no smiles in this video. I wonder why.
Here's a little bit of a mystery I'm trying to figure out here.
Oh my God, magic, y'all. This is what fascinates me.
What on earth?
You want me to try it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Tech support says Jam Cruise is the most fun I've ever been allowed to have.
Are you faking it or are you really doing it?
There's a little hermit crab in there, grabs it. Well-trained hermit crab.
What's the trick? I mean, were you faking it or you were really pulling on it?
Oh, I was pulling on it.
Well, he held it.
I held it upside down.
Oh, that's right. Damn it. This time you learned it right there, right?
That's what I learned at Wright's Dairy, right?
Was that, wait a minute, is this magnetic? No. Man, this is like, I mean, nothing you do makes me mad besides magic.
Well,
'Cause I know you're tricking me somehow.
all right,
Damn
well,
it! What is
we'll let
it?
him figure that out. How's it going, Dad? Isn't that sublime?
Oh, wait a minute.
That's how I do that, sublimation. Ooh.
Can you do it again? So you must have had something you did to it. You must have had a magnet or something in your hand.
A magnet to attract a rope?
Hocus pocus, skinny marocus.
That's the, you got to say the magic words.
All right.
I just think them.
You can do it probably.
No.
No.
Does he tell you how he does all this stuff? You don't get mad at him? Or you just tell him no more? I've had enough. This is so stupid. Stop bothering me with it.
That's why you got the girl with the pearl earring.
Oh, that's
You
right.
remember? Not all mysteries.
That should be
need to
solved.
That's right. That's why she gave you that. She knew if you're going to be hanging out here more, you're going to need to remember.
But that's no
gonna be
mystery.
your
That's something I
mantra.
should be able to understand. And I probably would understand if you knew if I knew what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would.
This is like Big Brother torturing Little Brother some way.
You know, the first magic trick ever done for me was Dad. He had a couple of really good card tricks. I don't even know if he remembers how he did them.
I have no idea. I remember the one you're talking about where I got it down to 3 and you'd hit it.
Yep, you hit the
Two
cards out of my hand. Oh, that blew my mind. I was hooked. This guy right here, I tell you what, I don't know who I'd be if it wasn't for him.
Natural performer.
But it is sort of interesting when I think about, like, you know, my relationship with my father, in the sense that, you know, I'm a musician. He loved music. Like, he had his loves, and I feel like I was, as a young boy, I was like seeing the things my dad loved and trying to figure out which of them I could do. Like, if I could have been an athlete, I probably would have, you know. But I was like, well, he loves music. I could probably do music.
Right.
You know, like I feel like wanting to, I don't know, make you proud or something.
That's
It's a life shaping.
And you know, the thing that I always was interested in was that I wanted you to find something you loved and could do and enjoyed, but I never wanted you to follow in my footsteps. I never, and that's all of my boys, and they all, you know, you could look at Daniel's. He is a doctor. Daniel Moore is a doctor of humanities, which means Greek and Latin. There is nothing more. I mean, I know Greek and Latin like I know how to play a guitar. I just, like, there's nothing there that, but he chose that and he did it for himself, but he also was making me proud.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever he did, he was going to do the best he could at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's true of all of my boys. But,
Now, were you good at teaching yourself how to do stuff or learning? Because
I wasn't very good at anything. I don't
well, he
think.
seems like anything he puts his mind to, he just can.
Not everything. He's not good at everything, but he takes challenges better than I did. I just did what I did, and I didn't really feel like I didn't have much motivation. I liked being a kid, and I had fun being a kid, and had fun being in high school, and I just kind of did things as they came along, but I never had a lot of goals. I never wanted to be a movie star or anything. I wanted to play third base for the Detroit Tigers, but I quickly realized I didn't have the body type for it. And, yeah, that wasn't going to work. But I could be the best I could be.
You had extra, you know, I mean, but you did have more patience than you would think you did for things like
Well,
like your racquetball discipline. I feel like you got pretty deep into like how to improve on that, or the stats you would take for bets and stuff like that. It was pretty patient.
well, yeah, I had patience. You can't be a school teacher and not have patience.
Right. Abundance.
But I didn't have motivation to conquer a lot of things. I was interested in a lot of different things, and I enjoyed a lot of different things, but I never felt driven to be great at any one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's part of what I'm
Well,
saying.
both of you seem to get joy out of doing stuff. When he was playing the clarinet, I don't know what a clarinet, even a good clarinet player sounds like. So I thought he sounded good. He might have thought he sounded terrible. But when he finished, the look on his face made me so happy. You just looked so happy that you had done that. I mean, it was just like, oh my God, he is like happy that he just did that. It was like, it's just, I think you both take a joy out of doing something, whether you're good at it or not. You did it and you had fun doing it, and you made somebody else. I mean, he couldn't tell I was sitting home in bed with a big smile on my face, but he was like, he played for like a minute, then he just like, well, he put it back down. But he had this big smile on your face that just made it worth listening to. And that's like when you talk about teaching, you just had like a joy of like being a little bit different, or the sayings on the board and stuff, just that little spark that nobody else has given you.
I had fun doing it. Yeah,
I think you and Mom both were great examples of enjoying life, just sort of delighting in simple little things. Look at this thing I got at the store, whatever it was. Like, oh, you won't believe this. Look at this new way they're packaging eggs, or whatever it is. Like, holy moly, this
I wish we could afford
a
some
game
eggs. So.
But you definitely were always into something. Something grabbed your imagination.
Well, I've had a lot of fun.
When you're really into cooking there for a little while, get excited about.
When I go back into my old journals, which I'm doing more of lately, one of the things I did a lot of cooking.
You really
and
did.
I see you doing that now.
Yeah.
You're getting involved like when I lived across from the old Lee down in that basement apartment, I had a whole 6-month Chinese thing. You had the little bed in the other room.
Oh yeah, I did. It was terrifying.
Yeah, it was weird back there. I don't know.
It was like a long, narrow house, and down in the basement there was a wall that went down the lengthwise, and on one side was this finished apartment that had little rooms, like it was a living room when you first walked in, and then like a bathroom and a bedroom, and then the kitchen at the end. The other side of the basement was just a long unfinished basement with no rooms. I had a bed in that side, and man, it was scary. It was so scary.
I didn't know it was that scary for you.
Well, I think it was that Peter Pan record I listened to in there too. Dr. Hook was in there, and the crocodile was ticking like a clock, and I was, I don't know.
The therapist has made a fortune off of those memories. Wait a minute, so you lived on the good side, and he lived over there on the other side?
Well, I lived there all the time. He just come every once in a while.
Right.
But when he came, I didn't have a bedroom for him. But they had a cot. They had a bed over there.
Was there water?
But once all the lights went off, it was like 2 miles to that door over there, and a mile to it was.
But the plywood was cheap. He could have walked. All I had to do was punch.
Yeah, I could have punched through the
wall, and he'd been in my bedroom.
One thing I remember culinary-wise from that time, something that they do not make anymore, which really upsets me. But do you remember how you used to make nachos? That were those round tortillas, and each one would get a dollop of like beans or salsa with cheese on top, and it was and we put them on a cookie sheet into the oven. And they came out as like individual bites.
They were good.
That's not Chinese.
They don't make those, but they don't make those anymore.
The round.
It was like a box of round flat ones, and they were
like little
they weren't
tacos.
good raw. You had to bake them for them to really be. They were a little chewy if you just ate them right out of the box. They were like made to bake.
Yeah.
So good. And you can't get that anymore. It doesn't even exist.
Yeah, there were some good memories down there.
So see the joy y'all got out of shitty stuff.
Oh,
that?
all right. Memories from that place. I remember Dad once. I don't know where you got this, but it was a full-on Spider-Man outfit. Full on. It was like the real deal, not like just a. It was a full-on. And he put that thing on there. It wasn't even Halloween. He was out there on the wall, freaking out all the cars that came by. I was like, "This is my dad." Spider.
It was Halloween.
No, he said it
It was after Halloween.
Well, it might have been the night after Halloween, but I had gotten it from somewhere for Halloween. But the thing I remember was I was out there. What I would do would be run across the road to the old Lee House. Yeah, Lee House across that. You know what I'm talking about? That house on the corner.
Right. Oh, you live there?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I would see a car coming. I would run down the steps, and Spider-Man would run across the road in front of him. And the damn third car that came by was a police car. They stopped. I hid behind a tree. They got me on the other side. They stopped and they showed it the spotlight. It's the only time I've ever been spotlight.
Oh, you were doing it at night?
I was doing it at night.
He's got his son locked in a shithole in the basement.
If they find me, I'm going to be in trouble. But yeah, I don't think you were there that night. But I was just looking for something to do that would be entertaining, and so I was scaring people. Well, I was entertaining people.
Charlie Kirk is sitting up in his office looking at you through his binoculars.
There he goes.
Mr. Moore, Steve Moore
We
just
got
not
him.
working out.
We got him this time.
He can't deny this.
Yeah, we've got him. He'll just quit. He won't admit it. They let me off. They didn't. I just said, I'm just playing.
Did you have those sunglasses on?
No.
I mean, that was a legit costume. I don't know which of your friends made it. I feel like my memory is that, somebody else made it for their costume and you got it somehow. Or you borrowed it. You're like, I need that. I need to borrow that.
I'm not a costume person.
And the whole reason he needed to borrow it was to run across the street in front of his house.
I thought it would be fun, and it was until the third car.
It was legit. It was. It was. Long John's died.
Well, I had the
basically,
mask too.
and the mask,
Oh, God.
but it was full on, full body, red socks that came up with the webs drawn. I could make that.
Yeah,
I remember the design. It was Long John's
I had to
died.
take my mask off with the spotlight on me.
Gloves.
And tell them that I lived up there.
Oh, so the cops actually
they
found you and talked to you?
Yeah, they talked through the blowhorn. Spider-Man, come out with your hands up.
Peter Parker, step out from behind that tree.
Yeah. Well, they were smiling. I mean, it's like they weren't thinking I was dangerous or anything. But,
It's like,
What business was it of theirs that Spider-Man was out? I mean,
well, I mean,
they
I
don't need
was,
to
I was there to
investigate
help
that.
them.
That's right.
They saw me as a
They should have
friend.
just been comforted and kept
Yep.
and moved on. It's like, all
I
good.
should have just stepped
This
out
block's
and said,
good.
I got this.
Right, right.
You
Move
can go.
on.
I guess we'll
on.
go
You
where
can
we're
go now.
needed. Right. This block is definitely covered. We can head on through
There'll
the park
be no
now.
problems in the park tonight.
I begged him and begged him for that costume, and eventually he broke and let me use it, let me borrow it. And I remember it was like a Boy Scouts. This is like I must have been like 10 years old or something, because we were still living on G Street with Mom, and we were having a party, like a birthday party for me or something. I had this brilliant idea that I would nobody would see me, but I was gonna. What I did was I disappeared and I put on the costume and I ran through the alley behind where all the party was, because I just wanted to create a Spider-Man sighting.
Right.
And then I would sneak back in the house and come back and hear people talk about how they just saw Spider-Man. I was like, this is going to be amazing. So like I sneak in, I put on the costume, and I run down the alley. And
By the way, that's exactly the thought process I went through.
right, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. So I'm like running through the alley of Spider-Man, and all of a sudden one of the kids goes, "Get him!" They chased me down, pulled the mask off.
Oh God.
Did not go
They
according to
chased me down
plan.
and pulled my pants off. I was like,
Did not go according to plan.
it's talking about. My brother and his wife were up this weekend. Doug Simpson's sister. They were up this weekend. We were talking about stuff we did as kids. And we were talking about the food my brother didn't like. And for some reason, when we were like 10, I was like 10, he was like 7. My mom decided we were gonna start eating oatmeal, and we just did not like oatmeal. And I remember that me and him would take it. We'd go stand by the mailbox, and we'd just fill our mouths up when cars would come by. We'd like we were vomiting, and like cars would like slow down. We'd both be standing there like vomit coming out of our
Did anybody stop and try to help you?
They would look, they're like, what? And then we would probably bust out laughing and run back into the house. We thought that was the funniest thing to vomit in front of cars.
It's a very similar mentality to what we were just expressing.
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh man.
I used to kill time by running whenever I'd see a cop. I would just take off running like I'd just done something. Knowing I was completely innocent of anything, and how guilty could you be just for running? But
You never got shot or anything?
But
Would you ever get caught?
I don't think I ever got caught because I would just run through the woods or something.
You know why?
But
you're in a small town. They said, "There goes Nathan."
Here goes Spider-Man.
Last week he was Spider-Man. Now he's a felon.
I was on one hand, you could almost call me a troubled kid. I wasn't really a troubled kid, but I wanted to
You're
be.
a troublemaker.
I wanted to be.
Yeah,
I wanted to be troubled youth.
You weren't troubled. You were a troublemaker.
I was a troublemaker.
There's a subtle difference.
Right.
I don't know if I ever told you the story. This happened like a couple of months ago. It was 2022. I don't know. It was, but the Findells played down at Redbeard Brewery, and I was walking home and I was texting. And I was drunk when I was texting. I was walking home texting, wasn't paying attention. And you know where like Chicano Boy is? There's like the bus stop seats over there. And I wasn't paying attention. Somebody just ran out. I think they came from there and just grabbed me. Didn't try to hurt me. Just grabbed me and spun me around. And they were just like, ha, ha, ha. They were just like laughing. It scared me to death.
Well, yeah.
And so, but then when I looked, they were just running away. So then when I got home, I realized I didn't have my ID with me. And I don't know if my phone, when I was pulling my phone out.
They pickpocketed you?
I think it was more me just being drunk, pulling my phone out, and I just had my ID in my front pocket. But people were like, "You weren't scared." I was like, "They didn't even have a chance." It was like, just somebody having a good time. They didn't make any intention to hurt me or punch me. They just grabbed me and But of course, I go into a squat position.
They're lucky they walked away alive. Your training could have kicked in.
But I
there.
looked, by the time I got, they were just running over there through like the Holiday Inn parking lot, or whatever that is, Howard, whatever that thing is. But I was like, it's just people having a good time. It was like so weird.
That is weird.
Oh gosh. If I had known you back in the day, I would have said that's probably Nathan just having a good time running away. Now that he's
Ben says he's going to try that out. He doesn't like exercise, but it'd be fun to mess with the coppers. Well, you kill two birds with one stone. You get some inadvertent exercise, especially if they chased you.
Now, who has the Spider-Man suit now? You or you?
Yeah, that's long gone.
I don't know.
I remember the design though. We could figure that one out. We'd look funny in that Spider-Man costume these days. Tell you what.
Yeah.
There's a pot-bellied Spider-Man out there.
It's like Easy Rider over here. Those sunglasses. Well, I keep looking at you, waiting for you. Like you ready to go hog? Oh, you take off on the motorcycles.
Maybe we should explain that this light is very bright
Okay,
on
yeah.
my good eye, and I'm wearing sunglasses not to be cool.
But you look very cool.
But if I'm cool, that's okay.
There you go.
I like being cool. I was cool once back in the 74. about 2 days. So
There's a couple of days stretched there in
was 2
February
days
'74
right in a row.
where I was just so
I'll
cool.
never forget it. It was pretty crazy.
Cool is such a hard to describe phenomenon, but there's no denying that it exists. I definitely, I've had such a lifelong relationship with cool. I remember not being cool as a kid, to me, and thinking other kids were super cool. They obviously were. I can, you were probably cool. Were you cool?
No,
You weren't cool?
I don't know.
Were you cool? You were sort of cool,
There's
huh?
different levels of cool. Yeah, I had a certain coolness about me, but not what grew to be cool. There's it's like an anti-hero thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where at some point I wanted to be Steve McQueen,
Right.
but I couldn't be him. I was more in the Roy Rogers mode, and I couldn't do much about it.
I was always in that sublimation stage.
What?
I was always in that sublimation stage.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Now, like when you do the Jam Cruise, do those fans think everybody there is cool? Or do they like, this band just isn't cutting it? Or do they think everybody there is?
I guess every now and again everybody has their own personal taste.
But they go there pretty much thinking these are people like myself and everybody here is cool.
To a certain extent.
So
Festivals are like that.
So you were cool. Yeah, like if you go to, I can't think, what was the big one called?
Well, I feel like I finally achieved cool to a certain extent.
One thing about the cool thing is if you think you're cool, you're not.
Right.
I mean,
That's...
if you're feeling like I am cool, then you're probably not.
Probably not, right.
Probably not.
Donald Trump.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump.
I don't have anything to say about that.
He thinks he's cool.
But you can tell by the way people treat you, maybe.
Yeah, I guess. And also, everybody has their own version in their mind of what cool is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be cool in one context, but not in another.
Absolutely.
Now,
100%.
when you first saw him, did you think he was cool? See, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So or did he have to convince you, like after months, you thought I guess he's sort of cool? Or did you like turn him cool with your influence?
I thought he was cool before I met him.
Oh, man, look at that.
I mean,
he's smiling more now than he was when he was playing
I feel like there's a pretty big difference, because I didn't really have a natural talent as a songwriter necessarily. Like, it took me a long time. Like, I started writing songs when I was 15, and then around 25, 26, I started writing songs that were pretty cool. I thought, like, whoa, all right, this is... Although the whole way I sort of always thought I was onto something, but the world never treated me like that.
Well, I think doing anything creative makes you feel a little bit cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even when I was writing bad songs, I thought they were cool
Yeah.
songs, but no one was treating me like they were cool
Right.
songs.
So
I could sort of tell.
Like, people just don't realize it yet, but you're like working your way to cool.
I'm working my way to. I was working my way to coolness.
Yeah.
Like it's not an inaccurate statement, but it's very hard to quantify what that means. But then you have like archetypal cool, like James Dean, like what you said, the anti-hero or whatever. There is archetypal cool. Steve McQueen, classic examples. These are cool dudes or whatever.
Yeah, I could never be that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, you as a teacher, you were always considered much cooler than the other
You were
people.
a cool teacher.
I mean, of all the teachers, you were the coolest teacher anybody ever had.
Well, you know, and what does that mean when you say I'm cool? I guess I don't know. I was different.
Because you seem like you cared about people more than just the grades and stuff. You actually cared about what was going on in the world. Somebody can't. If you gone to another teacher and said, "Oh, I did this. I wrote this." Like, "Oh, great, move on." You'd have probably said, "Oh, what did you do? You know, what did you? Let me read it." You know, you were always more interested. And, you know, had your finger on the pulse of what was going
Yeah,
on.
I mean, I like who I became as a teacher, and I would like for that to be called cool. Yeah, so I'm agreeing, but I don't know that I was ever really cool.
I feel like there's also an element of cool that's like challenging the status quo in some way, or authority, or not accepting authority, that anyone has authority over them. Like they're,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's part of
but
it.
it you know it can be a bad trait too, to
Yeah,
do whatever the hell you want.
To be cool without having any emotional.
Humility, empathy.
Yeah, empathy's a good word. But if you don't have all that with it, then there's a surface where it can be actually, to me, it can be a negative quality because you don't care,
Right.
and that makes you dangerous to society. If you're just wanting to be cool, I mean, you just pull the gun out and shoot the guy because you're cool.
Right.
But so, I don't need. I never aspired to that level of coolness.
So funny thinking about like childhood aspiring to coolness. It's such a funny thing because I definitely did it bad. I remember like after seeing the movie Footloose, like you get the skinny tie, get the cool haircut, like the Chuck Taylor shoes, and trying to break into spontaneous dances in inappropriate places. Let's get this cafeteria lit. Let's go, everybody, follow me. Wait, I'm alone out here.
Wait, I'm not cool.
Here's a classic. Where I went to a after school, after Friday night sock hop at the armory, dressed with black slacks, a white turtleneck, and a blue blazer, because I loved the Dave Clark Five. Glad All Over was my favorite song.
Glad all over.
I can't wait to go home and ask Alexa to play that. I haven't heard that in 30 years. But I went to a dance in that outfit because
Yeah,
I wanted to be
cool. Absolutely.
And I walked in and looked around, and I felt like the dummest piece of shit that ever came through the door.
Oh, really?
Well,
you didn't pull it off through the night?
God, no.
Well, that's sometimes you're so cool that it disheartens you that nobody around you realizes what you're doing.
That was not that night. I was humiliated. I mean,
You were humiliated that night?
Yeah, I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror,
Oh, my goodness.
and I said, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever."
Because
seen."
usually it's like looking
I
at a
don't
picture
feel
years later. You're like,
glad all
No,
over
it was
right
right there. I almost got in a fight with a kid, and I'm not a fighter, and I'm a nice guy. I would never pick a fight, but I had heard he was making fun of me, and I went over and I said, "What's your problem? You want to step
Confronted him.
outside?" And he just started laughing.
you want to step outside.
I asked him if he wanted to step outside and talk about it. And he started laughing, and all the guys standing around. I wasn't cool at all. I was the opposite of cool. On that particular night, I reached new levels.
New levels of uncool.
Coolness. I was the uncoolest guy not in the city of Stanton, in Virginia.
You want to step outside, it comes out and Spider-Man standing there waiting for him. Ah!
I'd have had him.
Here, give me 5 minutes, then meet me out front.
I'm going to the bathroom.
The cops pull up, run for your life, kid, run for your life.
I'll meet you out there.
Oh, Lord.
You're messing with the wrong person right now.
You've had it.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, that I remember. I think it was senior. I don't know if it was senior prom or junior prom. I went to, what was the name of this? It was like Chess King or something like that. One of those stores, and I bought leather pants to wear.
Leather
to
pants.
wear to the prom.
Anybody that's ever bought leather pants knows
So
what we're
I
talking
show
about
up to the
here.
prom in leather pants, thinking I'd be like, the Jim Morrison of the show,
Yeah.
know, and everybody's like, "What the fuck?" And they're all looking at me like. And then, but I also remember my parents let me borrow their car, and it was so hot it left like sweat stains of leather on the car seat.
What did you do in the car?
But then, like 10 years later, I still had them, and I was like, I was gonna make shorts out of them, and so one of my friends was gonna cut them off, and she's like, "Oh my God, please throw those away. They must have looked terrible."
You're gonna make shorts.
Leather shorts. She's like, "Just throw that stuff away, please. Nobody wants to see you in leather pants." But I remember,
Leather pants.
But I remember,
Where do you get leather pants?
it was in Harrisonburg.
Chess
Oh,
King.
you had to go to
Chess
Harrisonburg.
King.
Whoa.
So I showed up in a tuxedo jacket and the shirt and leather pants.
Oh
My
God.
date was probably like, "Oh God,
You
please
were
kill
so
me."
cool.
Oh, I thought I was so rock and roll. Y'all never heard of that Dave Clark 5? Come on now. Oh, that was the same situation. You're like, "Oh my God, if I could just please put on some bell-bottom leather."
It seems to be a phenomenon that some people are just cool naturally, and then the rest of us are just scrambling,
Right.
trying desperately to figure out how to embody that in some way. But the whole crux of it is the people that are just naturally cool.
Confident, yeah.
Yeah, just like they got the leather jacket. I don't know what it is. Like the archetype would be like Fonzie or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, but they're not trying to be that. They just are that. And then the rest of us are just running around frantically trying.
I would venture to guess that none of them did very well grade-wise in school. Because that's not
That's
cool.
not cool. Right.
Well, I mean, seriously, why is it considered cool not to be smart in school?
Well, you're just doing what the system tells you to do. You're listening to orders. It's like I'm not going to do homework just because you told me to do it. If I happen to enjoy it.
But so how did that ever become cool? I mean, I think that's true. I think people thought, "Oh, he's failing out, and he's smoking weed. He's cool."
Well, I think Marlon Brando had a lot to do with it. If you go back far enough. And then he bred Steve McQueen.
But he was channeling an archetype that came before him, right?
I'm sure he was, but I don't know what it was.
I mean, even when we were like
Fatty Arbuckle.
even when we were like hunter-gatherers or whatever, like you had like the badass warrior. I mean, this is maybe a dude's perspective, but we're three dudes talking. So, but I'm sure like the badass warrior in the tribe or whatever, it was just like the kids were like, "Oh my God, why is he so cool?" Like that's what I want to be. But they're all like little clumsy.
Smart kid.
Yeah, like
I can do math. Nerd.
Right.
Dave Clark fan, get out of here. How many claps is that? 2? Clap all over.
You could argue that what you're talking about there is it's changed. That the nerds have become a lot cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And will continue to do so as long as the technology keeps taking over.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
being able to throw a spear is not near as handy a skill as
Programming
it
a
used to be.
computer.
Yeah.
Well, I think money is much cooler now. I never thought about how much money anybody had. But I think nowadays, if you're just some influencer or something with money, you're cool,
Money and cool.
Oh, yeah. That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool's not what it used to be.
Right.
Well, I don't know. That's still, I mean, again, everybody has their own definition of cool. And I think still cool is that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean,
And whatever it is you love, there's some cool role model of that or whatever.
Right.
Like whether it's
Yeah.
anything you might want to be into.
The meaning of cool.
Now, can girls or women tell when somebody's really cool or not cool?
I'm wondering if there's a gender difference between this conversation. Probably not, right?
No, I would think it's just a quality. I think you said something about confidence earlier. You know, people who have a confidence, like even if they do something uncool, if they're still confident
Right.
and can even laugh about it or whatever, they're cool.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ryan said something about owning it, and
Oh, that's true.
you know,
What about parachute pants in the early 90s? Ryan says. Yep. Ryan says, I think that everyone is scrambling. The people that you see as naturally cool are just owning it, and enough people agreed.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Faking it till they make it.
And then stuff like smoking, like how did smoking cigarettes become cool?
It's still cool.
I don't know.
I mean, isn't it just undeniably cool? I mean, it's not, I guess, anymore.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I don't think smoking cigarettes is cool at all. But if you watch like these old black and white movies, you just see some dude lighting up a cigarette, like, damn, that's cool. That is
See?
so
But
cool.
you have that reaction, right?
Yeah.
On some level.
But then if I see somebody standing outside of Baja smoking a cigarette, I don't think they're cool.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely not as cool as it used to be. But I don't know. It might be archetypal, too, because it always comes back around. I feel like shows just started having people smoking again after it being sort of banned or panned for a while.
I don't know, I'll be watching Netflix and it'll be like rated R. Why? Because
It's a part of the warning now, smoking.
well, they have like the like a time period smoking or something. Like we know it wasn't cool, but everybody smoked in the '60s, so we have to show it.
But I would think, archetypally, it's sort of like you're just taking death into taking it head on, like it's a dance with death or whatever. On some level, you're like.
And if you know what you're doing, it could be sexy and stuff. Like you see somebody, like looking at you. They're like, oh my God. Woo-hoo. You get the chill down your back.
A dude got leather pants for him. I'm going home with it.
Somebody gives you that look and they're
Yeah, it's definitely a big difference between some like dude in a leather jacket smoking a cigarette or whatever and some unhealthy person outside of a bar coughing and it's sad.
Well, then once you know what smoking is, you realize it's cool and you can just put it down and walk away. But then when you realize people are addicted to it, they're out there because they can't even sit in the bar for like an hour and enjoy the conversation because they're like, that's not too cool to be so like you can't even,
Yeah, right. We used to be, as a culture, we used to have so much more fun with our vices. It seems like I feel like I have all this. I want a curiosity cabinet. Is that what it's called? Curio cabinet. I want a curio cabinet for all my old school tobacco paraphernalia or whatever. Like this is a great example. This guy. So you put your cigarette right down here, and the smoke comes out of his mouth.
Oh my gosh. Now what is that? I mean, what's the purpose of it?
It's not focusing right, is it? I might have it on the wrong focus setting. I do. Oh, sorry if we were blurry all night.
You were all served a brownie before the show. I hope you enjoyed it.
But
So it's just like a
but
trick
stuff like
thing, or
this,
what is
like
it?
you know, like you put your cigarette in here and the smoke comes up out of his mouth.
Oh my
Then
God,
you can put it out up here.
that's cool.
But as a culture, we used to have so much fun with our vices. You in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 30s, you look at all the amazing ashtrays. They got like some you push the button down and it spins and all the butts go down.
But they
You look
also
at like
they didn't know it was as dangerous either.
I know.
They didn't have the research to say it was going to be a cancer-causing thing too. So it wasn't all the fact that they were just trying to be
Playful with our destruction.
right. They weren't seeing it as an addictive chemical.
Alcohol is the same way. Like so much paraphernalia back in the day. You and like every movie, like everybody has like a glass of bourbon in the afternoon. Like everybody's working, chain smoking, and drinking glasses of bourbon. But also like decanters and all the paraphernalia that used to come with the vices that everyone just delighted in. Like, oh my God, look at this amazing ashtray or something like that. Like, you're not going to find an amazing ashtray made today. It just doesn't exist.
But of course they never show. They don't. When you're watching football, or whatever, they don't show the commercials of everybody like jumping in the pool with a beer. You know, they don't show the guy at home like smacking the kid. Shut up! I'm watching the game. And falling over on the sofa sleeping. You know, they don't show you like the bad part of it.
Right.
Of course not.
I'm calling in sick again to work on Monday. Oh. Bud Light. Everybody loves it. Oh. I'm not feeling so good today.
They never showed Nathan those 5 days when he got back from
Right.
They put the video on him.
Damn it.
But that's our. We're supposed to understand. We have to have our own, monitors. You know, they can't. I know that a lot of these things are bad for you, but that's not really their fault. That's your own dumbness if you can't control it.
The excess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough one.
How many times have I woken up like, I'll never drink again, that's, oh my God, I feel so terrible. And then like next Friday, woo, you totally forget about it.
Yeah. A lot of the fun is from the excess.
Oh yeah.
There's a...
Because that's when you feel cool.
That's when you feel cool.
I actually talked to a girl for the first time. I can't believe it. Woo. Do you know what you said, a-hole? No, what? I'm not even going to tell you. Just be glad you don't remember.
We're doing this dry January thing, and I sent out a text message after about the first week or so to all our closest friends. I was like, I just want to apologize for my behavior last night. Not because I did anything wrong, but because I miss apologizing for my behavior last night. There's part of me like, oh, normally it was like the day after a party, but we were just out sober or whatever. So I didn't have to send that message the next day. Like, oh, sorry about that. I sort of miss my morning of shame texting whoever it was I might have offended.
I'm sorry. The reason I'm sorry because all the dumb stuff I said, I actually remember and wish I hadn't said.
Alcohol is such a fascinating drug. Is that the word for it? You might have some insight on this one. Just how we all have insight on this one. But isn't it fascinating? It's a fascinating substance because it does make you make bad decisions, but that's part of the reason you do it.
It's such a simple molecule. You just got 2 carbons and a hydroxide stuck on it, and it does all these things. But
now,
if you take one of those carbons off, all of a sudden you've got wood alcohol, and 3 ounces of that will make you blind, and 5 ounces will kill you.
Wait, if you...
No. Do you
take
understand?
1 carbon, if you make it methanol instead of ethanol, it's a poison.
Ethanol is what we drink
Ethanol is the one you
in
drink.
all liquors,
Everything.
wine and whiskey.
Everything. Every alcoholic beverage is just that simple. And it's a simple little molecule. So, like hallucinogens and different chemicals do elaborate things to our nervous system. But alcohol is just such a simple molecule. All it does is turn things off. All it does is kill things. And so the first thing it does in your brain is alleviate part of your brain that makes intelligent decisions.
No, wait.
But why is that so fun?
No, but no.
Well, because it releases the stress of worrying about things. It takes away. You're not worried about it. You don't pass judgment on it because you don't have that mechanism to do that anymore. So
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. So, when you drink it, what does it do? The chemicals in it interact with your brain.
Well, it interacts with your whole body. That's why it hurts your liver and your kidneys, and it's a poison. It's a question of dosage. If you drink enough tonight, you'll kill yourself.
So like a little bit just numbs your brain, but so the more you drink, the more you get.
It just shuts down things. That's the way I interpret it. It just shuts down parts of your brain that make decisions, but it works very quickly. It's a small molecule, and
but you said that's different from like marijuana or something that works?
Well, it's totally different because marijuana works on certain nerves and
Might actually turn some things on.
Yeah, I look at marijuana as allowing you to take different pathways in your brain. It opens up ways of going where we are, on a normal basis, we always go down the same roads.
Right.
Now, alcohol will cut off some of the roads.
Oh, wow.
Tends to be the higher roads, so you tend to take the low road, which means you are obnoxious and say stupid stuff and don't take care of yourself like you should. The first things to go are, we all know what they are, this decision making and things like that. And but you can see an party guy from 3 to 5 beers. But after 5, I've started to get more and more obnoxious.
Yeah, it's such an amazing phenomenon. Like to a certain extent, like if I drink a certain amount, I am going to do something wrong, which is weird. I don't really quite get it, but
Well,
I'm going to say something wrong or do something wrong or pee where I'm not supposed to pee or be where I'm not supposed to be. I don't know. Something. I'm going to do something.
Yeah,
that's part of the thrill of it.
Part of that's what the alcohol does is turn off the things that will say you shouldn't do that. So that lever's not there, so you go ahead and do it, and you invariably do things that are really cool.
Is a part of the whole appeal of is it the danger that we like what's
I think it's the liberation that we like.
the liberation?
We don't like to be controlled.
Now, so is the chemical in it what makes you addicted to it, or is it just the feeling that you get from it?
It's the feeling that it creates.
So if you become an alcoholic, you're not really addicted to any of the chemicals, or you're just.
Well, since that's the chemical that takes you where you need to go, it is the chemical.
Okay.
It's just, it is such a simple molecule that you wouldn't think you would be addicted to the molecule itself, but it's more obviously the effect of it.
Well, you hear about people in prison putting like jelly in a sock and some water, and they can make liquor that gets you drunk and stuff. So it must be something simple to make. Like the jelly works with the bread, and the bread turns into yeast, and the jelly, the sugar, it makes like these liquors, and they sell this sock liquor. It's like you said, it must be the most simplest thing in the world to make.
It's so fascinating that we'd be so into it that we go through such lengths just to shut down parts of our brain.
Yeah, and it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere in our society. Now, I see gambling and alcohol taking over our society. And not a good thing. I don't see any of that as good.
Right. It was way cooler when it wasn't mainstreamed or being pushed by the.
Yeah, that's the money makers.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime the money makers get a hold of it, you're in trouble because they make it sound good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've, I mean, we all have alcoholic friends, and you don't end up being happy when you're an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work out that way.
Right. So what is it about the chemical that makes people that'll never tell you anything, and they start drinking, they'll just tell you like these stories, like, oh, you're just
well, again, I just look at it as alleviating.
It takes their guard down or something.
It lets you not worry about things that are usually in the neocortex that are controlling things. I'll bet you can help me explain. Am I making any sense? Mm-hmm. It's okay, because I don't think it has the effects of a hallucinogen where it does I think it just shuts down things that normally operate to control us, so we're left with less control. It's like having the run of the house with your parents not there. You know, you can do what you want to do.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, I think it is. I just made it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's true. You can run free, and
it's also a depressant, which is ironic because
exactly.
you feel good on it.
Yeah, that never worked. Yeah, it's hard to explain that alcohol is a depressant when and that's that 3 to 5 beer thing.
Right.
You know, at first you're happy that you're alleviated from stuff that is pushing you down.
It's depressing stuff that's been oppressing you internally.
Been oppressing, that's a good word. And and it's gone, and so you're free, and you're feeling like you're out there, and but in actual, it's a depressant in the biochemical sense that it's just, all it's doing is shutting things down.
Oh, you're saying like depressive, but it's not making you depressed. Or you think it makes you depressed?
It's more of a technical term for how it interacts with things, right?
Well,
Both.
Yeah, both. And you're talking about the nervous system, central nervous system. So if you're, what's the opposite of depression? Depressant?
Stimulant.
Stimulant, caffeine or whatever, is going to push things to run faster.
Cut things on.
Yeah, it turns the lights on. And a depressant just shuts things down. And alcohol is about the simplest depressant I can think of, because it's just such a simple chemical.
It's a blunt tool.
Yeah, and very effective. It works the same way on almost all brains. I guess all brains are affected the same way.
Well, gentlemen, we've gone over again.
Have we?
Just a little update, which is great. It's sort of our
time
MO.
for a drink.
It's our MO.
Well, I'll drink to that.
Let's celebrate. You go get the Spider-Man costume. I'll go get the whiskey. Let's go to Wright's.
And pass the brownie.
Right. Thank you all out there for watching our show.
It's good to be here.
Thanks for watching.
That was fun. Thank
Sorry,
you, Heather, for producing us.
Yes,
I think you're a natural. Like,
I think you are.
In a couple of weeks,
guy.
she's going to be like the wizard behind the curtain over there. Like, oh my goodness, got the frog back.
We didn't have any comments. If you like the one, does everybody?
Let us know what y'all think of the new format. So very curious.
I've seen her.
Oh, they like that. Oh.
Nice. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you next week.
In one shot. It could be a little hard to
Blinding. Yep.
It's a depressant. We understand that.
Yeah, stop after 5.
Eric Bang.
If you could do that.
Good to see you. Hopefully we'll see you all next week. Tell all your friends, tell your ma, tell your pa. Our love's going to grow wall to wall right here. Jabberjawn, Thursdays at 7, whenever possible. Like clockwork. You can set your
sundial.
Your geyser
That's
to
right.
us. Yeah.
Love you all. Have fun. Good luck.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good job.
Man, we did it 2 hours.
Yeah, we did. It was over 2 hours.
Yeah. Police never showed up. We finally got a clue for that Spider-Man.